The Mario trailer. Oh, yeah, the Mario trailer. How many people here have seen the Mario trailer? I saw the Mario trailer. I assume everyone here has, right? Like, that's a cultural touchstone, Super Mario, right? Like, that's, it's like Mickey Mouse. So, I think the movie looks really good. Like, the animations, they look spot on. Mario's design, there was that one leaked picture that made it look really weird. But then you see him in the movie and he looks fine. Obviously there's stuff that can be tweaked, but it's not like Michael Bay's Transformers where you're just looking at it and your eyes feel like they're about to bleed. When the design gets so busy, you don't even identify that there's a face where the face should be. So the eye starts panicking, looking for something smooth to latch onto, but there's nothing there. It's nothing like that. And it's not like Sonic where it's just why. Well, actually, I know why the Sonic design ended up like it did, because they got someone who was really good at animation to do the design for him, which means he was designing that original Sonic design around the needs of the animation rather than putting more consideration into what is aesthetically pleasing to the human eye and why the original Sonic design worked. That's why that design ended up like that. Which is kind of interesting, right? That they didn't hire a character designer. They just got the animators to do the design and had it kind of put around the needs of the of the film. Which, I think I find that fascinating and good on them for like almost immediately just going like, you need to. We fucked up. We're gonna delay the film and start over. We're not gonna crunch our animators to do it. We're gonna tank this one. We're gonna throw about 20 million more at it just to fix it. Sorry guys. But yeah, so the animation in the Mario trailer looks great. And there are some standout performances there. I like Jack Black Bowser. I think Toad sounds fine as well. Like, that's around what I would imagine Toad to sound like. So, Keegan-Michael Key is, doing a fine, he's just doing, a pretty good job with Toad there. But there's another voice in there. There is another voice. And that voice is Luigi, who we hear some panicked sounds from, and he sounded okay from the panic screams. We need more from him though. We don't even have a line of dialogue yet. But no, let's stop dragging this out. So Chris Pratt is voicing Mario, and not a long-time Mario actor Charles Martinet. Now, anyone who's been on my Twitter recently knows that I've not been too happy with this. It's been a frustrating thing to talk about because I think a lot of people miss the point of my outrage, because obviously I'm not happy with the sound that Chris has gone for, which is basically his voice with like a slightly Italian-American sort of Brooklyn twang. So he's kind of gone back to the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, from the or like Bob Hoskins in the 90s film. They've gone back to that sound, which was kind of how Mario sounded before Charles Martinet came in. Which, it is worth pointing out that was the default for the character, but then they eventually discovered a far superior, more fitting sound for a character like that. And that is the sound that has been baked into the character's legacy for the last 20 years. Like, when did Super Mario Brothers... So I'm going to look this up very quickly. Super Mario 64, when did that come out? Technically, Charles Martinet actually voiced him in a game... Okay, so Super Mario 64 was 1996, so he's almost been voicing him as long as I've been alive. Charles Martinet. There was one additional voice that he did. Oh my goodness. No way. So he did, apparently, Super Mario 64 is when console gamers first heard him. But he's actually been voicing Mario since 1992. The first time he voiced Mario was in the Super Mario Brothers pinball game. Uncredited, apparently, so maybe I need to check the sources there. But according to Wikipedia, that's accurate. And then he voiced him in Mario Teaches Typing, and then Mario's Game Gallery, and then eventually, then Super Mario 64. So this guy has been the voice of Mario for longer than I've been alive. And Charles Martinet, he's not just a guy who comes into the booth and goes, "Oh, woohoo, it's a me, Mario, woohoo, oh my god, Yoshi. Oh, oh, gonna get a pizza. Oh, spaghetti. You know, he doesn't just say a bunch of random well, he does, but he is a trained actor. He has done multiple other roles. He's most well known for Mario, but he's also done Parthenax in Skyrim. And anyone who's heard Parthenax talk knows that that is like the opposite of Mario. So that means this guy has range. He can not only do something that is in a completely different cadence to what Mario should do, but he's also able to do something more dramatic, more, you know, he's able to bring himself into other roles. And he's been doing this for a long time. So the idea that he couldn't do it, that Charles Martinet could not voice Mario, is absurd. You know, what are the main arguments that are being thrown around at the moment? It's, you know, would you want to really listen to that for 90 minutes? Well, for starters, I don't know if you know how movies work, but a movie does not constitute one person talking for 90 minutes straight. Even if it was literally a movie about one character, chances are he's going to have to take a breath at some point. So you're not literally listening to that for 90 minutes. And in fact, even if it was one person, there would hopefully be a lot of pauses, like a lot of breaks, you know, because you don't want to, because someone talking, you know, you would imagine there would be ebbs and flows in how much they're talking. But the thing is, we know there are other characters in here. We know there are plenty of moments without, we know there are at least a few moments without dialogue, because we saw them in the trailer. So that argument's already flimsy. And then we remember that Charles Martinet is, as I've pointed out here, a trained actor and an actor with range, like a huge amount of range. So he could definitely not only do the voice of Mario, but he could create like the film version of Mario's voice. Something maybe a bit more toned down, but still completely in keeping with the voice that he's established all this time. And he's done like improvised sketches with Mario and Luigi and Wario and Waluigi. Like he voices all four of those characters. And he has done improvised sketches on Instagram and stuff. He's done it at conventions. He's done a bunch of different things. So I don't understand. So I think any argument people put forward, a lot of arguments people are putting forward are just like, they're wrong. It's just wrong. And I saw someone on Facebook. They said, oh, well, you know, we have the actor who has been in multiple films up until this point, and then there's just the guy who comes into the booth and he just does a bunch of voices. And are you really surprised they didn't want to take a risk on someone like that? And it's just like, please show your ignorance more, sir. Please, it's not clear enough that you have no fucking clue what you're talking about. It's frustrating because, you know, voice acting is a skill in of itself. And voice actors are so demeaned and undervalued when really their job is harder than a regular actor. They have to get across so much using only their voice. And that is so difficult. Like anyone who's done voice acting knows that you are basically just, you don't have anything to work with other than your voice. And that is so fucking difficult. You got no body language. Like obviously the animator's going to come in and do a lot of that later, but you still have to communicate so much with so very little. And it's very easy to just become monotone because of that. And you've got to really dig deep to do voice acting. And so it annoys me that, you know, the people who do this for a living, the voice actors who do, you know, like 40 episodes, you know, do like 40 TV shows a year that are doing voiceovers in other places, that are just constantly practicing their craft and, you know, blood, sweat, and tears into this industry. They're always just shunned in these Hollywood production in favor of celebrity voice actors. Well, not even voice actors, just celebrity actors, and sometimes celebrities who aren't even actors, Ronda Rousey. And you can tell that a lot of these guys, they are not voice actors. And the final product does suffer because of it. And Chris Pratt especially, you know, he's putting on a bit of a Brooklyn accent for sure. But is it like as unique and distinct as Charles Martinet's? Absolutely not. I think we are missing out because we're not getting someone who is trained and has years of experience in this field. And someone who, I think, you know, there's something to be said about the fact that it has been earned. He has earned that place. And, you know, it's not just about, you know, the behind the scenes story being pleasant or whatever. It's about the fact that this is an ongoing problem with the industry, that, hardworking voice actors very rarely get these larger Hollywood roles, despite the fact that they have earned them a lot more than the voices they end up getting. And it's ridiculous that they always go for the celebrity voices, because at the end of it, like, what does it amount to but a name on a poster? You can't see you cannot see the actor when they're in an animated film. And unless they have a really distinctive voice like Patrick Stewart or something, you're not going to know half the time who's voicing who. And I'm not against Hollywood actors being cast in these roles either. I think there are a lot of actors who are really good at both. Like J.K. Simmons, he flows in and out of both worlds. And I think that when they hire J.K. Simmons, they don't hire him just to hire J.K. Simmons. They hire him because he is the best suited for that part. Chris Pratt. I like Chris Pratt. He's great as Star-Lord, as, he's fine in Jurassic World. I've heard he's good in Parks and Rec. I haven't seen it, but he is not an untalented actor. He is good, but he is not the kind of person. This is not the kind of casting, and I think his performance is kind of emphasizing this for me. This does not come off as the sort of casting that you would put on in order to what's the best way to put it? It doesn't feel like he was chosen because he was best for the role. It feels like he was chosen because he's Chris Pratt, and Chris Pratt, in a vague, broad, statistical sense, puts asses in seats. Something that actually isn't strictly true if you look at things like Passengers, but even ignoring that, Chris Pratt is popular, so they're thinking, wow, we want this movie to be popular. Let's put Chris Pratt in it. We're not going to give him a minor role. No, we're going to make him Mario. We're going to make him the lead, because that's what the kids want to see, right? Well, they want to see Chris Pratt. The thing is, we're not seeing Chris Pratt. We're seeing Mario, and we want to hear Mario. And I don't think I'm going to be able to separate it myself. And I'm going to reserve judgment. Maybe he'll surprise me. Maybe there'll be a clever twist in there where he is only voicing Mario initially, but then something happens and his voice changes, and it's actually Charles Martinet the whole time. You've been suckered into seeing this film. But I don't see that happening. I don't. Like, that would be... It feels too elaborate, right? And I'm concerned that Charles Martinet's name wasn't even in that initial trailer when it was on the initial the initial cast poster. So has his role just been cut at this point? I don't know. That it's concerning that maybe the voice of Mario isn't even going to get a cameo in the Super Mario Brothers movie. It's frustrating. And let's look at actors like Peter Cullen and Frank Welker. They have portrayed vastly different versions of Megatron and Optimus Prime over the years. So G1 Optimus is not the same as movie Optimus, who's not the same as Transformers Prime Optimus, who's not the same as War for Cybertron Optimus. They are all variations on the character he created, on the character that he didn't create him, but the character that he pioneered with his voice. But they're different versions, matching different requirements. And Megatron's voice goes even further. He's on the, I think Frank Welker has voiced him. Yeah, he's voiced him in like four things, right? Like he voiced him in, he voiced him in, what's it called? G1. Voiced him in the movies after 4 and 5. He voiced in 4 and 5 because Hugo Weaving wasn't having any of that shit anymore. And then he voiced him in Prime and also in Devastation, I think. I'm sure someone will correct me on that, but he does something distinct for, at least between G1, the movies, and Prime. Each one is their own distinct version, but they're all done by the same guy because he knows that character and he knows how to emphasize certain qualities over others, how to adjust his performance, his voice, in order to still make it distinctly recognizable as that character, but he brings a new flavor for what is required. It's disappointing that we're not going to get that with Mario, and I don't think they needed to stunt cast Mario. I don't. Like, this is someone... I think I read somewhere that Mario might have overtaken Mickey Mouse as far as recognizability goes. So Mario might be one of the, if not the most recognizable characters in fiction. and he's beloved. So if you're not, imagine if they stunt casted Mickey Mouse. Like if it was Chris Pratt's Mickey Mouse and he's just doing a variation on his Chris Pratt voice. That would be pretty, like, I mean, maybe that could be interesting. Maybe Mickey Mouse is not the best example because Mickey Mouse, I feel like that's a character that people would almost desire a reinvention of at some point, but maybe not. I don't know. Looney Tunes is probably the better example. Like, would you want Chris Pratt voicing Bugs Bunny as Chris Pratt? Would you want Chris Pratt voicing Daffy Duck as Chris Pratt? Would you want him voicing Sylvester or Elmer Fudd or Yosemite Sam, Marvin the Martian, and it's just him being Chris Pratt? Like, I would say that Mario is in that same sort of space where you want a voice that matches the character. You don't want you don't want just a celebrity coming in doing a variation on their celebrity voice that, maybe there's an accent that was there that wasn't there before, but it's just kind of them doing them. And that really worked with the Lego Movie because his character in that film was just Guy Man. He was supposed to be just generic man who does his man thing, but then oh no, now he's been thrust into a non-man world, and now he's going to have to go beyond his man status quo and reach beyond. And it does not ring. It worked so well there, but this one, it just rings like, oh well, Chris Pratt can voice act. We saw him in the Lego Movie. Let's bring him in here. And I don't know, man. It does come off as a very cynical casting choice, which is a shame because, again, the rest of the movie visually, it's looking great. I even like a lot of the voice actors. Like I said, it's just Chris Pratt. Even if I'm sure he's going to do a decent job. But do we really want decent for someone as important as Mario? Do we really just want middle of the road? I don't know. Other people are more open-minded for it than others, but even if he blows it out of the park, right? It's still like how he got there is so problematic that it's almost not, the good performance we get. I think it's going to be worth acknowledging, but it's not going to be worth forgetting about how he got there in the first place. And this is not me saying that Chris Pratt himself is to blame. It's the larger systems that are preventing voice actors from getting these bigger roles, even when they fucking voiced the character since 1992. Even if you have that sort of legacy, and even if you have the fucking, the father of these games working in tandem with the studio to get everything right, Miyamoto is on board. Even that's not enough somehow to get the person who is known for these voices to voice the character. And of course, I wasn't expecting every person in the video game every voice actor for the video games to get the role. I wasn't. Charles Martinet is the one with the legacy, though. He's the one who has put in the blood, sweat, and tears. He's the one they always get for Mario. You would think that would cross over into the Mario movie. So I'm glad that there has at least been some backlash to this. I'm glad that we have people like Tara Strong going out there and saying, look, it is not right that Charles is not voicing him, and raising awareness for it. I think it's disappointing that a lot of people don't quite understand what the problem is, but that's why I'm doing this podcast, so that I can highlight things like this in a very quick manner. I don't need to put together a whole video in order to rant about what's wrong with the Mario situation. And as a lot of people have pointed out, and it's pretty funny, the French dub of the film, the French trailer, that came out, the trailer came out in all its different languages. The French dub sounds so much better. Like the guy they got doing the French dub sounds so much more like he's inhabiting the spirit of Charles Martinet. Like I would not be surprised if they just got, because it seems this might mainly be an American thing, or at least like maybe even a Western thing, but other countries seem to put a lot more importance on their voice actors than America does. So Japan, like I think YMS pointed out that the Japanese dub of The Lion King is so superior to the to the American version, because Japan is huge about getting their voice acting right. Voice actors are, the celebrities over there, as far as I'm aware. Like they are so well regarded, while Again, America, they have to have their celebrities, they have to have the name, they have to have the, the faces from the movies and the everything doing everything, because that Hollywood people think that's what's going to put asses in seats, when what puts asses in seat is often a little bit more it's a little bit more up in the air as to what's going to appeal to an audience. A lot of it has to do with marketing, and that doesn't necessarily mean marketing involving showing how many celebrities there are. It usually just means, are you presenting a product that people would want to see? I mean, celebrity casting can help, don't get me wrong. Like, especially if you can secure a big celebrity in an independent production, that's going to bring a huge amount of attention to your work. But at the same time, it's not the be-all, end-all. And with someone as big as Mario, it's ridiculous that they weren't able to just relax and get Charles Martinet. And so we have now a situation where I really want to watch the French version instead, because even if I have to read subtitles, I would rather that. It's honestly a case where I might want to do a fan edit where I keep all the other English voices and then Mario is just speaking French the whole time, because at least that'll be better to my ears. That'll sound better. I don't speak French. I can pretend he's speaking Italian. Maybe the Italian dub is better than maybe the Italian dub isn't the same thing. I haven't seen anything from the Italian dub though, so I don't know. Maybe I'll get the Italian dub and mix and match that in. Maybe I'll just watch the Italian dub. Mario's Italian. Let's keep it in the family. It's a funny world we live in, where I'm not excited to see the actual performance in the film. I'm excited to see foreign dubs and fan dubs that are going to happen later. In fact, what I'm pretty sure what's gonna happen. In fact, this has already happened. We've had someone has already gone in with like one of these voice cloning pieces of software. It might even be like a voice conversion thing like Respeecher, which we're going to get into a little bit more later. And they've converted Chris Pratt's voice into Charles's voice. And look, it's very clear that the bot didn't have anything resembling enough material from Charles or Chris to work with, just for the few clips that were there. But it did still sound better. It still fit more. The delivery was a bit more flat because, again, the bot didn't have much to work with. But I get the feeling that a lot of people are going to go into the Mario movie. They're going to convert all of Chris Pratt's lines into Charles Martinet's voice. They're going to tweak it, and they're going to keep iterating on it. And then eventually there's going to be the Charles Martinet cut, which is just going to be this AI converted thing where where Charles Martinet's voice has now replaced Chris Pratt's. And whether it is through the AI method, whether it's through really spot on impressionist, or whether it's just someone just piecemeal asking Charles Martinet to give them different lines from the movie, and then eventually those are all stitched together over time. Mark my words, it's going to happen. We're going to get a version of the film that is going to be like the Charles Martinet cut. And it's going to be this fan-created thing trying to salvage the film. And any sequels, they're going to get the exact same treatment. And it's going to be really fascinating to see, because it's very clear that although there are a lot of people who don't get why this is such an outrage, there's a fuck ton of people that do, and they're going in and they're fixing it. And I guess that's kind of the beauty of the democratization of of VFX techniques and software and all of that, where not only the skill ceiling is lower than it used to be, thanks to things being easier to get into, but also just things are less expensive, things are less exclusive. You can do everything from home now. And I think that's got a lot of, it's obviously got some horrifying possibilities, but it's also, it makes me hopeful in a way for the future, because even if Hollywood continues to fuck us in the asshole raw, no lubricant, no reach around, at least there will be independent creators going in to clean up their messes, and they'll get better and better at it to the point where you don't even need the Hollywood template anymore. You can just create your own stuff very, very easily. It's going to be an interesting world to live in. And yeah, and again, to emphasize, I like Jack Black's Bowser. From what I heard in that trailer, I don't think I would want someone to go in and dub it. That opinion could change, but I like what I heard. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the Mario thing. Let's go and see what you guys have to say on that. Such vivid imagery. Yep, that's me, the vivid imagery man, the person who Just goes in all, just raw dogs the shit out of your ear holes with more words. The French Mario sounds exactly like Mario. Exactly, that's the thing. It's so much closer. So much closer. So much closer.